How can you extract the maximum amount of gains from each individual exercise in your training program? And how can you avoid creating unnecessary fatigue with those same exercises, as well as avoid causing them to plateau prematurely? Today, we'll answer all these questions by discussing methods that have been thoroughly battle tested over the last 2 decades, both in my own training as well as in the training of countless clients of mine. Please remember to like the video and subscribe to my channel. And if you enjoy content like this, then please consider supporting my work by picking up a training program from my website. It's www.enkirielitefitness.com. I have over 60 5-star reviews on Google. You can check them out for yourself. And if you do, your gains will thank you. I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Basically, I want to talk about getting the most value that you can possibly get out of each and every movement in your training program before the diminishing returns kick in and it becomes prudent to swap that exercise out for a period of time. A skilled lifter or a smart lifter is going to be able to auto-regulate their way into a series of positive adaptations spread out over the course of several weeks or possibly even several months, and extract maximum gains from a movement, extract maximum value repeatedly over time before that staleness begins to kick in. Now contrast that with somebody who's training in a less intelligent fashion, or somebody who simply can't resist the urge to always kind of push things to the absolute limits. Those types of people, while they're very gung-ho and willing to train hard, may actually burn an exercise out in literally just a handful of training sessions. Basically, what I'm talking about here is similar to the concept of quote-unquote slicing the bologna thin, making a little bit go a long way. So let's say that I introduce a new movement into my program. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be any type of squat or a bench press, a deadlift, an OHP, etc., etc. Just a big primary exercise, something that you would use in the first or the second slot of a training session, something you would emphasize and prioritize. So I'll start off with that new big primary exercise, and in the first week, I'll work up to something challenging for 5 reps. Just something challenging, right? An RPE 8 for a top set, maybe an RPE 8.5, but probably not a 9 and definitely not a 10. Then, in the second week, I will do the same thing again, but this time I will push the envelope a little bit further. This time, maybe I will try to find that RPE 9 or RPE 9.5 effort, potentially. And then finally, in the third week, that is when I will just go absolutely balls to the wall, and I will work my way up to a true 5RM, an RPE 10 effort, a set of 5 reps where I absolutely could not have done another rep without failing it. After that, I will probably take a deload week in the 4th week, and then I will repeat the same process again, but this time with 4s instead of with 5s. So that would now give me another 3 weeks of productive training following that initial wave. Again, in the 4th week, I would deload just to kind of help reset the fatigue barometer a little bit. And then, starting a new wave after that, I would repeat the process again, but this time with 3s instead of 4s. So now, right off the bat, this has bought me 12 super productive weeks of training, all with the exact same movement, starting with 5s, tapering to 4s, and then tapering into 3s. But if you're really about that life, you can extend this concept even further into 2s, doubles, right? And then potentially even into singles. Now, you'll get the most productive and sustainable training with your 3s and your 4s and your 5s when you're utilizing this concept. But 2s and 1s, singles and doubles, still have their place. And if you take this concept all the way through from start to finish, that is 5 months of milking the absolute shit out of a single exercise, from 5s all the way down to 1s, And each and every single time, I will have gotten myself a positive training stimulus from my exposure to the movement. Each of those stimuli nudging me forward slowly and surely. And in reality, you don't even have to take it nearly this far to be able to buy far more value from each individual movement in your training program than most people are typically able to get. For example, you could just do a wave with 5s and a wave with 3s and then switch to a new movement and do the same thing. And in this case, since you're only spending 8 weeks on each individual exercise, you can probably go back to them relatively soon and be ripe for another good round of gains. If you had just 3 or 4 different movements in a rotation like this, you would keep making gains pretty much forever. Another option would be to mix different rep targets into the same wave while keeping a consistent RPE cap from week to week, instead of keeping the reps the same and raising the RPE cap each week. So kind of inverting it. So for example, hitting 5s in week 1, 4s in week 2, and 3s in week 3, and then raising the RPE cap when you move into the next wave. Now, on the flip side of all this, imagine if I just switched to a new movement in my program, went out in week 1, and worked my way up to a ball-busting set of 5 reps, an RPE 10 right from the onset. Not only would the overall ceiling for that RPE 10 effort be much lower in this first week and in this scenario than it would be in the 3rd or the 4th week if I had just taken my time to build the movement up for a few weeks, but also, and far more importantly in the grand scheme of things, in this case you would only get one single stimulus out of the movement, one single nudge forward, one single impetus for progression before forcing yourself into a corner where you have to dial up the knob and crank up the intensity level to new heights in order to find the space to create another positive stimulus. You're shoveling out a massive hole for yourself when you only needed to spoon up a little bit of dirt out of the ground. You blew your load way too soon, and now you're stuck in an embarrassing refractory period waiting for things to charge back up again. Not only did you get less positive adaptations out of the movement, but you also caused more fatigue in the process of doing so. That is not a good trade-off. Contrast that with the method I described a minute ago. And in that former scenario, you would get 3 or 4 of those same positive adaptive stimuli before having to even dial things up at all. Each one of those adaptations building off of the one that came before it, each one just as valuable as the one that would eventually come after it. Brick by brick, you build the house. Slice the bologna thin and you can dine on meat for weeks and months. But if you eat the whole damn block in a day, then you're just going to go hungry tomorrow. Now, obviously, what I've just described here is more of a strength protocol as opposed to a hypertrophy one, maybe a power building protocol even. But you could run this exact same type of concept for a more hypertrophy-oriented training style as well. In that case, you just start with a higher rep target. So maybe you could start with 15s in week 1 instead of 5s, and then work your way down to 10s instead of 1s over the course of a few months. Or maybe you could start with 12s and work your way down to 8s. Whatever. That kind of thing is literally the exact type of thing that I personally do very often with my secondary and my tertiary movements in my training program. They're a little bit higher rep, right? I'm never not going to train for strength, so I always go a little bit heavier on my primary work. But a majority of my other work often falls into these sorts of hypertrophy-biased, higher rep parameters. Really though, if you only take one thing away from this entire video, the point that I'm trying to make here is that there is immense value to delaying gratification when it comes to training. Essentially, that's what this whole concept is. A lot of people have a hard time resisting going all out all the time. In fact, I would say that a big part of my job as a coach is just stopping people from doing that, stopping them from essentially being their own worst enemy, because the fact of the matter is, with a properly designed training program, it simply makes way more sense and it creates far better long-term progress to leave something in the tank most of the time. By culminating the intensity gradually, not only does the absolute ceiling become much higher, but you get multiple equally potent adaptive stimuli from the exact same movement before being forced to discard it due to staleness. Think about it. If you make everything stale so quickly, too quickly, eventually you will simply run out of shit that is potent and effective for you, and you'll just be stuck in a plateau. So it just makes way more sense. Anyway, I hope you guys found this one informative. Let me know if you have any questions about anything that I've talked about here. Please remember to smash the like button before you go. Leave me a friendly comment down below. Check out EnkiriEliteFitness.com for online coaching and training programs. And keep training hard. I will catch you guys next time.